months ago, before I knew how long we were going to be dealing with this pandemic, I made a page on my website. The title of the page is "In Times of Pandemic, Still We Blog." It was a collection of resources for folks who were dealing with not just the pandemic, but also everything that came with it, the physical distancing and feelings of isolation and the sudden sort of shutdown of a lot of the things that we would do for fun. So I had sections on where to find health information, news and stories to uplift people, entertainment in the time of social distancing, physical distancing, things to do while you're in isolation, and also ways to do good during the outbreak. And one of the resources that I had up here was a collection of journaling prompts that actually comes from student counseling services at Connecticut College. And I'm a big fan of journaling, and I'm a big fan of reflective practices as a way to help us make sense of our own lives and the world. And during a big global crisis like this, I think most of us need to find some way to make sense of it for our own lives and our own communities. And I really liked this set of journaling prompts that they put together. I will link it down below so you guys can take a look, but I did want to just run through it really quickly and talk about why I like it so much. So it starts with an overview that, talks about what journaling is, how it works, why it works. And it says this, it says, establishing a tangible narrative through journaling allows you to, 1, sift through your cognitions or thoughts, 2, to shift your perspectives when necessary, and 3, to unpack/explore and or process thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Helps you to move forward in your life and in a way that facilitates your mental health and well-being. And so, they put together a collection of prompts that are specific to this moment in time that we're living through, and they broke them down into a few categories. I won't read every single one of the questions, but I'll give you a sense of what they ask in each category. So they start with reflecting on the new temporary normal. For example, what has changed in your day-to-day life since COVID-19 became a thing? What changes have caused the greatest impositions, led to the most distress, led to some relief of distress? What changes have been pleasantly surprising? Then they have 2 sections that are movement towards joy. So in the first section, they ask, reflect on what are the things that bring me joy, activities, hobbies, experiences. Why do they increase my joyfulness? What is it about these things and about me that leads to interaction-based joy, interaction between the thing and who you are? And not just things, but people and relationships, and what can you do to maintain your connections to the people and things that bring you joy while we're going through this pandemic. The second part of Movement Towards Joy asks you to look outside of yourself and ask who in my immediate circle seems most in need of joy. What can I do to increase their joy? And how can I add to the joy of people who I am physically distanced from at the moment? Then it asks you to move outside of yourself and into the broader community, so reflecting on the changes that you've experienced and putting them in context of the larger picture, whether it's your immediate community, this being for university asks about your campus community, but also friends, family, your province or state, your country, what is your role in your nation's response to the pandemic? And how does being an individual who may or may not be in a high-risk category tie into your role? So, like, for instance, for me, being a person who is young and healthy, I'm less likely to suffer the consequences if I get sick, although we still don't know what the long-term health consequences are going to be, but I am likely to pass the virus on to other people if I got it. And so it is my responsibility to stay home and to not just keep myself safe, but to keep other people safe. And the last section that they have in this collection of prompts is about gaining perspective. And it opens with a question that asks, what are you learning about yourself as a result of the coronavirus-related shifts in your life? And how did you come to learn these things? What have you learned about other people? How did you come to learn about those things? What are you learning about your communities? And finally, how do you integrate that learning and those new perspectives into your life moving forward? I really like this entire collection of prompts because I think that it does exactly what journaling should do, which is to ask you to reflect on your own life, but then also to help you to put your own life in context. So to think about this present moment, think about it in context of other moments, right? Caleb just posted a little life update. He was talking about how we've all experienced ups and downs, and when we tell our stories, you want to be able to say, I'm on the up and up, or things are trending downward, but actually life is just a collection of moments, and being able to take yourself out of the moment that you're in right now and think about, okay, what has caused me distress? What has brought me joy? How do I make sense of all of these things? And how do I move forward in a way that enhances my joy and lessens my distress? But then also asks you to look outside of yourself and to think about what you can do for the people in your life, people in your community. What is your role or responsibility to your community at large? And I think all of these things, while they may not be able to give us, a solid trajectory or a clear path forward, what they can do is help us to make sense of this moment and to see places where things are going well, and we know, okay, this is working. I understand that this is better because, or this is working because, or I can help in this way. And those are little hints for things that we can do moving forward. And we can also identify, okay, this isn't working. This is causing me distress. This is having a certain impact on my relationship. How can I change those things so that I don't experience that distress moving forward and I don't cause distress to people in my life? I just really like their list of prompts, and I thought I would share it with you in case any of you guys find it helpful or useful. And while this is specifically around coronavirus, and I think it's actually really helpful for all of us dealing with the pandemic, because we're at this moment now where we're just sort of living with it. I think the initial excitement of it, and I don't mean excitement in a joyful way, I just mean, feeling that heightened sense of awareness and arousal, like, of our senses. Some of that has dimmed now, and we're dealing with what is a new normal, what is temporary but long-term change. And I think that now we may have days where we feel like this is going to impact us more than other days, and this is where taking a moment to reflect can be really helpful. And like I said in my video yesterday, it can be all about asking the right questions to get the answers we want, and I think that this is a really great list of questions. Even if you don't journal, I do encourage you to take a look at this list of prompts and see if it is helpful for you in reflecting on your own life in this moment. And if you have any other tips about coping and managing your mental health during this time or during any time, please feel free to leave them in the comments. I would love to hear how you guys handle your day-to-day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see all of you tomorrow.